Hi everyone and welcome back to Chess for Charity. In this video, I'm going to show you a very cool puzzle that was shared to me through Discord, where it is white to play and win. Take a second, see if you can figure out the main idea in this puzzle, maybe where to start, maybe the first 2 moves, 3 moves, see how far you can get. Let me know in the comments how far you get, and maybe next time you can get deeper. Okay, white to play and win. These pawns are scary. Lot of pawns. 7 pawns. This one's not really scary, but these 7 pawns are kind of scary. What do you do as white? I'll give you a minute to think about it. While you're thinking about it, let me quickly encourage you to subscribe if you have not yet already. Half of the income I earn in this channel goes directly to charity, so every like, every subscriber, it helps us out so much. It also helps out charity. Okay, let's get started. The first move I think is relatively obvious because your bishop is under attack, and you might be tempted to play like rook to h1, but after they leave, it's pretty obvious there's no mate. There's no fancy thing. This isn't defended. All these squares, if you check this way, they just run away or they take, right? So the first move is bishop e2. Check. So they only have one move in response, which is to push the pawn, and there are some threats already that you have to be aware of as white. The first one being rook a1, right? Let's pretend that you just made a nothing move. You just moved your king as a passing move. They play rook a1, and how are you stopping this pawn? You don't really have a good option. The computer is suggesting giving a check just to kill time. Okay. So you have some threats to mitigate, so to speak. So what's the best move? Well, here is the first kind of superstar move of the position. The move is bishop d3. So what is this move doing? Well, it's defending this square. And if I just mention this move again of rook a1, right, that was the threat. This whole idea is now counteracted because rook e5 check, g5, bishop g6 is mate. Look at this mate. Crazy. So this bishop d3 move counteracts this rook a1 move. Great. But then the natural question is, what if I just take the bishop? What happens then? Well, that's the continuation in the puzzle. Pawn takes bishop. What do you do now? Well, you might want to check them. You might want to check them this way. And you have to think very carefully about which check you want to do and why. So the right move is rook to e5. And the reason is because it creates this g5 move for black, which stops this king from getting to the g5 square later. So for example, if we were to go back and do this instead, the king gets out this way. There's nothing to do here, right? Black's going to play this same idea we just talked about. So what's the difference? After the bishop is captured, you play rook e5, plays this move. So now they're kind of entombed here. Cool. But how are you actually going to execute this? They have a pawn on b2 ready to promote. Do you just play rook e1, but then what happens next, right? Let's just, if they push or if they play rook a1, what's going to happen? Well, that's for you to calculate. Rook e1 is the move. And now, what do you do as white after they play rook a1? Think about it for a second. If you haven't gotten the puzzle so far, take a second here. Pause. Think about it. Give it 10 seconds. Can you find the idea? The idea is rook to e6. Kind of a nice little back and forth, right? We bought ourselves a little bit of time. But wait a second. Can't this pawn just promote? Well, the answer is yes. So what do you have in store if it promotes? If pawn promotes to a queen, there's only one move. King move, rook move, those are the only 2 options. The king takes on g7. You're threatening mate right now. How do they stop that mate? There's only one real good way to do it. They play queen b2. Your king just moves over. And now what's the move for black to kind of not save the game, but to prolong the game? They play queen h8, pulling your king away from this critical defense of these squares. Okay, king takes. Now what? Another amazing move from black, defensive resource. Rook e1. right? Trying to buy space for the king. If I can get this king out, I'm a little better off is the idea. After you take as white, you got to be very careful because look at those pawns. They play king g6. There are only a handful of moves here to not lose the game, but you can draw it with a few, you can win it with one. What is the move here to win? Only one move that wins in this position. That move, rook e5. I should put an exclamation point on that. Bang. If you don't know how to do that, just right click the move and it'll be there. Okay, what do you do if they push? Well, you just take this. No problem. So there's not an immediate threat. What if they push this way? Well, we're going to get there, but pretty much you take and you're able to freeze the pawns for a moment. And hopefully your king can get in the battle. Okay, so after you play rook e5, what do? They play d4. Right? They're trying to make one of these pawns go because they're not able to take this anymore, right? In this position, there's only one move that wins for white. Take a second. If you don't get it yet, just sit here. Feel if you can figure it out. Just kind of feel it out is what I'm trying to say. The move is rook e7. What's the idea? Aren't you just going to let this pawn promote? How does that work? Well, if you saw deep enough, you get how it works. After d2, rook check? No. You take the pawn. Why? Because now they promote, you check them, they move anywhere. We'll say king f5, and you hit b7, and there's nothing to stop this pawn from promoting. This is where the puzzle ended. But, personally, I want to extend it just a moment. If they play queen h1, this looks a little scary, right? This is a check, eye on the pawn. You have two options as white. You play rook h7 or you play king g8. One of those moves loses. One of them wins. Can you figure out which one is which? I think it's just worth talking about even though the puzzle's over. The move king g8 loses because queen d5 check. This king's very centralized. And after the king, moves somewhere here or there, you can play queen e5. You're on this. You're threatening some stuff, maybe some checks. I'm not really sure all the lines. I didn't look deep into it. But just a sample line. If they promote, obviously you take it. But a sample line is something like move the pawn just to show it. A little pawn race. This is a way to lose. If you're playing the white pieces, you can lose. Right? You're going to lose the game like this. So the point that I'm making is that after this check, let's see. After this check, you got to be really careful. Rook h7 is the only way to win. And the computer is saying the best move is to just take. Super cool. Just wanted to show that last point. So that's the entire puzzle. Pretty incredible, right? Check. Let's go through it really fast again. Giving the bishop up, inserting this intermediate check to block the king off, dropping back, coming all the way back up, letting them promote. They sack their queen on h8. You take it. They give up their rook just to buy their king a square, and you have to walk on eggshells to not lose this endgame by playing a couple very, very precise moves. Check, push, and you win. So that's pretty much it. I think I took out the last couple moves on my own, but that's pretty much it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like, subscribe, comment. Let me know on a 1 to 10, how hard was that for you? It's all fun and games. Thanks so much. Bye.